Can you guys hear us and see us?
Hopefully, this is a second attempt at going live. Part deux.
Yeah, we were having some technical difficulties. Much better now, they say. Awesome. Sweet.
Cool.
And Mavis is here.
Hi, Mavis.
Yeah, hopefully we won't lose too many people, but when it starts out like that, I just like to nip it in the bud. It does suck, but it's better than, like, we did deal a couple weeks ago having just constant issues, and I didn't want to do that again.
I like to nip it in the butt.
Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We appreciate you following us here, and today, once again, we're talking about comedy. If you need the questions, they are on Twitter at OddShapedPanel.
And now that you can hear me clearly, I'll say them for everyone real quick. Question number 1. What is the best comedy/parody song? Question 2 is what is the best comedy series on television? Question 3 is which movie that isn't a comedy that made you laugh the most? And number 4 is, I just had it, went away. It's gone.
Best stand-up?
Yeah. What comedian do you consider brilliant? So yeah.
All right. Well, let's get someone in here and we'll get started. Who do we got up?
Well, unfortunately, I lost the last list with the last stream, so we're gonna go with
patrons first.
Yeah. So the first patron to show up in this chat was Eric Ossenlacher.
I know that guy.
I know that guy too. Ba-dum. So I'll be throwing the link in the chat. He goes, woo! Hello, Jonathan. And that is for Eric. So, what's the funniest thing you've seen lately?
Your face. No, I don't know. I didn't really think about that. Oh yeah, I saw a guy.
I remember to unmute this time. Ah, dang it! I was gonna come in monotone because it'd be a joke that I'd come in with no humor on the humor episode. Dang it!
You messed up. All right, let's restart.
All right. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. How are you doing?
Oh no, Eric, what's wrong?
I am ready to have a good laugh with all of you.
You're not Eric.
Okay, I'm not Eric. I'm not Stu.
Nice.
So, have you thought about these questions, good sir?
No, because I didn't actually see the questions until it's like because on Twitter on the mobile phone I only saw the picture. I didn't see a hint of the fact that the questions were even there. So the entire time I'm like, when are they going to post the questions? Which is why I asked on the last stream, can you guys put the question in the description? Because I didn't think they were on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm clever like that. Everything's a riddle with me. Well,
but yeah, I do actually have answers. So that's like I've already looked. I'm like, yeah, I got that. The only one I'm not entirely sure about is question 4.
If it makes you feel any better, it's been a busy weekend for us too, so we haven't had that much time to think about the questions. Luckily, this is like a subject matter that both of us are pretty much have our favorites already.
Right.
All right. Well, number 1 was what is your favorite comedy/parody song?
So this is actually something that's very recent, as in it's a movie that came out like just late last month. So I don't know if you guys have seen on Twitter, but I watched Teen Titans Go to the Movies, and I found it actually quite kind of enjoyable.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah. So obviously it's Teen Titans Go. They do have the occasional song in the show, and they have multiple songs in this movie, as you would expect from a show that has songs to have multiple songs in the movie form. So one of those songs, like it's strangely one that I don't actually hear anybody talking about whenever they're discussing this movie, but it's actually my favorite from the movie. it's like sort of like towards the middle of the movie, because the entire plot of the movie is Robin wanting to get his own movie, and then he has a song about that in the middle of the movie, and it's so it's like it's hard to describe when you haven't seen it, but it's just like it's good. And then they bring later in the movie they bring a callback to it, and at that moment it's also really good. No, sorry. I believe it's Joe that's running the Geek to My Nerd YouTube chat in the chat. But no, not the upbeat inspirational song about life. That one's also very funny, but I'm talking about my movie, my superhero movie. And it's like even my cape is special effects. it's like there's like so many different things. It's like, and it's like it's sort of it's sort of, you know, the entire movie just pokes fun at the entire superhero movie genre, as one would say. But it's probably it's a good song, and of the songs up from the movie, it's the one that gets talked about probably the least, and it deserves to be talking about a bit more. And to answer Jonathan Peck's question, yes, I have seen both versions of the Teen Titans shows. I do prefer the original version, obviously.
I agree.
Tom, what's your pick for this question?
My pick is, there's a lot.
But on the most recent season of MST3K, for those who know me, they know that I really enjoy the comedy styles of robots. They have a song called Jonathan or Jonah's Kaiju rap, but it's also called Every Country Has a Monster, and he just goes through different like national cryptids and stuff like that. And the first time I watched it, I felt like he wrote it for me. Some people think Brown Eyes is about them. I think Jonah's Kaiju rap's about me.
You're talking about Brown Eyed Girl?
Brown Eyed Girl. That's not even how it goes. I'll be right, Glenn.
Nice. Is that all you got to say about that?
I mean, it's a really good, it's informative, but the robots, you know, they have little asides. I mean, another great one would be probably like Wonder Boy from Tenacious D, because it's like about the hero's journey and how like ridiculous some of the like epic poems can be, but it's like, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, again, this is incredibly hard for me because like I have Tenacious D and Flight of the Conchords tattoos. I love comedy music. Actually, one time one of my friends asked me if I only listened to like parody music and comedy music because I have such a fondness for it. But the one that really always makes me laugh is from Flight of the Conchords, which is an amazing show, and if you guys haven't watched it, you definitely should. But Brett meets this girl, Coco, who is working with him at this job, and he really starts to like her, and they start dating, and he writes this song for her, and it's called If You're Into It, and it's just really hilarious and charming, and you could watch it on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend, especially because now Jermaine Clement has kind of rose to fame, which I would not have predicted that he would have been the one that gained so much popularity, but he's wonderful and they're hilarious, and they actually have a comedy special coming out very soon. I think it's November or October, and that song's just hilarious to me, and really it's Jermaine that cracks me up the most on that one, because he's like doing the backup vocals and he keeps showing up with like all these extra instruments, and it's hysterical. So that's definitely my pick. TJ knows what I'm talking about. He's name dropping the hip hopopotamus there. That's exactly what I have tattooed on me.
Hi, Donkey.
Hi.
Welcome.
So what's question number 2?
I wonder if he's related to Randall. Question number 2 is, what's the best comedy series on television?
So, of course, you know, knowing me, I'm going to have to sort of almost sidestep the question. I'm actually going to go with a web series here. And I'm going to talk about another Rooster Teeth series, because I do that sometimes. Well, so I'm going to talk about probably my favorite, definitely my favorite, you know, shows of all time now. That's their series Camp Camp. So do you guys remember a Cartoon Network show from a couple years ago called Camp Lazlo?
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine a more adult version of Camp Laszlo, but also if Lumpus and Laszlo's roles were reversed, where it's Laszlo that's the cynical prick, and Lumpus is like the happy-go-lucky one, and it then take that to like an extreme, and it's a camp that's literally it's a very low budget camp that advertises itself as every camp. So it's like there's they got pamphlets that say they're a space camp. They got pamphlets that say they're an adventure camp. They got pamphlets that say that they're a science camp. They got pamphlets that say they're a theater camp. They got pamphlets literally any camp possible. And it's like the entire like cast, it's so great, and I cannot recommend this show enough. It is so good. It's like the first episode, it's like it is pretty, winds up being pretty generic, because it's like it's a whole here's the concept, and then here's this, here's that, and it's like but pretty much starting from episode 2, it's like it's amazing.
Sorry, yeah, I got distracted by the chat, but
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds fun. It's interesting you bring that up, because I don't know if you know that it's RTX. Like,
Yeah. Our RTX, I like just wrapped up. I know that.
And I work on 6th Street in Austin, so like literally everybody who was walking by my tattoo shop this week had like the badges on, and I tattooed a bunch of people who were here for RTX, and it was a really fun experience. So it was interesting timing of you bringing that up.
Oh yeah.
What do you think is the funniest show on TV?
It's really hard for me because I love so many. Honorable mentions definitely go to Parks and Recreation. That's one of my funniest shows ever. But if we're picking something that's currently on television, I can easily and solidly choose The Good Place. Again, I've talked about the show, but it is brilliant. It is charming. It is funny the entire time. And I think it's pretty universally appealing. I hate Ted Danson. There's something about his face. I hate him so much.
Yes. You've talked about in length how much you hate Ted Danson.
I fucking mean it. Okay, I really hate it. But I love him on this show. I think he's really funny in this shit, and that this is like his moment. And if you aren't watching the show, you're really robbing yourself of one of the better shows that's ever been on TV. And I thank Ashley and Joe every time for recommending that one to me, because that show's fantastic.
I was trying to decide while you were talking, and
oh, Tom Zambino just started The Good Place. Yes, season 2 is even better. Like, that show blows me away. The writing on that show, and Candace is like, that's my choice. The writing on that show is perfect, and I just can't wait to see what they do with it next.
I'm going to say Venture Brothers.
Ooh,
yeah.
I think it was kind of ahead of its time when it started, and it's still been able to keep up with kind of like, it's like, it's that when it started, it was more of like a rip off of like the Johnny Quest like 70s stuff, which I grew up on, like on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
On in the morning and stuff like that. But it like went through this like superhero phase, and it's still kind of got like elements of that, and it's like survived during all this other stuff, whereas some other like superhero properties have fell flat. Not naming names. But I don't know. I really, whenever it's on, I'm always having a good time. And I think another good one is probably, I mean, you nailed it with A Good Place. That's what I was gonna say.
I mean, I'm sure there's some others. I
mean, and I don't know how much of a like, because it's weird because it shows almost full length movie episodes, but I still think MST3K.
Yeah,
is great.
I mean, Glow is really funny, but that show's like really got a lot going on emotionally too. So I don't know if it's like consistently just funny.
The unfortunate things is some of the older like series and stuff like that is kind of hard to like compare to the newer stuff, because a lot of their material is more dated.
Yeah.
So some of the jokes don't translate as well, but yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Next question.
Tom needs more coffee, I think.
I do,
We gotta wake this
but
guy
I don't
up.
want to. I don't want to make a cup because it'll blast out your ear holes.
Mavis wants coffee too.
Coffee
What's the next
cat?
question?
The next question is, how much time can Tom spend
No, come on.
extending his enunciation?
The answer
Okay.
is 2.7 picoseconds.
Mavis is getting some love.
Which movie that wasn't a comedy made you laugh the most?
I mean, I guess it. I'm like probably easy question is any MCU movie that isn't technically considered a comedy, because you know they do have some good they do get some good jokes in there, but pretty much any of them that isn't a Guardians and Ant-Man or Ragnarok, I guess is the answer, because I would consider all each of those comedies, but like the first Avengers has some great jokes in it, but I would not consider that a comedy.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely Josh Whedon's work. Did I call him Josh?
Yeah, you definitely did call him Josh.
Whatever. I'm sure he gets it all the time. But I think you're right. Like when they were able to like just put those little notes of comedy throughout the movies, I think that's what kind of helped with their success.
Everybody's going with On Your Left right now.
Or Thor with another. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh man. But like the first Thor's definitely got some very Shakespearean comedy to it, which makes sense because it's pretty much a Shakespearean movie.
Yeah, my choice is so much different. I'm not picking a movie. I'm gonna pick a show because there's this one episode. Tom Zambino's gonna like this. There's this one episode of Top Gear, the Reliant Robin one, where they have these 3-wheeled tiny cars, and he's just crashes this car like 15 times trying to drive the thing, like, and it's the funniest damn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And whenever I'm feeling down, I just watch this episode. I don't know if it's supposed to be as funny as it is because it's just like Top Gear, but he's so British and he's crashing this stupid car and people are having to come out into the streets to like help him tip his tiny car over. And just when you think he's done crashing, he'll just like crash like 8 more times. It does get serious because they show you the graveyard of people who have died driving these tiny cars, but it is the funniest episode. It kills me. Oh, he's commenting.
Oh yeah, he's got.
That's not gone well. He like gets in the thing and like within 30 seconds he's like crashed. It's like immediate. Oh no, it's too good.
Okay, the final question.
Wait, you didn't answer that question, did you?
You didn't answer.
Trying to get away with it. Okay, man.
I knew this because I'm still using this opportunity to think of my answer for the next one.
So, what young Tom went to like a church youth group thing, and during the Passion of the Christ. Okay, before you judge me, he's getting crucified. Just hold on, wait for it.
No, that hilarious scene where he's getting crucified.
He's got the criminals on his left and right. Classic scene. We've all seen it before. And the one dude's like, "Oh, please forgive me and bring me with you to heaven." Understandable. And the other guy is just like, "Psh, you're nobody, blah, blah, blah." And then crows come out of nowhere and peck out his eyes. And I just like kind of like I couldn't keep it in. And just was like, "Ha ha!" And it like echoed off of the walls. Yeah,
You're
was
getting
great.
very mixed responses in the chat here. I'm with Joe. I'm gonna go with Joe.
It's funny. It's funny the literal split between Joe and Ashley there.
I'm not laughing at the crucifixion. I'm laughing at the guy who deserves getting his eyes getting pecked out of nowhere.
Yeah,
getting his eyes pecked out.
I was talking to you about this before. I think that Mel Gibson should just direct movies because I like the directing better than the
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
his asshole face. Apocalypto is an amazing movie. But yeah, this is a good one too. But like, what a random. I guess like it's just really personal.
And like that. I definitely everyone in the youth.
Immediate punishment is a hysterical routine. Candace says.
Because like I did it, and everyone in the youth group turned and looked at me, and then it felt like everyone else in the theater like. But I mean, if I don't go to hell for that, I'm going to hell for something else.
All right.
Killing the party. Also, Manos: The Hands of Fate.
Yeah.
Should I?
No, you're good.
Okay.
The last question tonight.
I thought that was it.
No, there's one more.
Oh man,
Your
I should
favorite
have.
comedian, I believe.
The most brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like, is this and like this is a difficult question because like it's like how do you like state brilliance because like in some ways like someone like a George Carlin would be considered very brilliant, but in other ways he's just very crass. So it's like where do you draw the line? It's like, but I mean I can't really think of anything, so my answer is George Carlin.
I mean, for multiple generations,
Yeah.
he was like he's still top 5.
Yeah, George Carlin is my answer for favorite comedian of all time. I do think that the dude was brilliant, as well as being incredibly funny. You still to this day see people sharing quotes that he said about different things because some of what he said was incredibly poignant. He was clearly a really smart, well-spoken dude, and yeah, like because of the time period of some of his comedy, it can get a bit dated or a bit offensive.
Yeah.
But I think that he meant to offend you because the things that he was talking about, he was so passionate and he felt were so important.
Plus,
especially if you're a religious person, George Carlin is not the dude for you.
yeah. Plus, he had the best scene in Jan Saw Bob Strike Back.
He had the best scene in a lot of movies because he was just like, there's no one like Carlin, and he really went on to inspire an entire generation of comedians just by being like totally himself and never being able to shy away from any subject matter. Like this dude was unfiltered to the max and a definite genius. My favorite living comedian is Bo Burnham, without a doubt.
Yep. Bo Burnham's also a good choice.
Yeah, Bo Burnham. Again, like I like the musical comedy, and he just is the comedian who I think is one of the smarter guys and is saying a lot of interesting stuff. And he has like a lot of stuff about his personality that's very similar to mine, and is the comedian that I relate to the most because I think his sense of humor is the most similar to mine. And he slays me. I can watch any of his comedy specials. We also just watched him talking to Ethan on the H3 podcast and really enjoyed that. I just think he's like he just put out a movie that he wrote and directed, 8th grade. And it's getting really good reviews. He's just like a really smart, interesting person who's multifaceted talent. Like this dude is a really good piano player. I think he plays up his vocal to be silly, but I do think he's a pretty good singer too. And if I had talent in those ways, that's something that I would want to be Bo Burnham if I could be a comedian. He's just incredibly funny and smart to me, and some of the stuff that he does just goes up to a whole nother level of brilliance where he blows me away. I love when he reads his poetry out of his book, and his little Shakespeare bit that he did is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And he was so young when he started, and he's still really young, and I hope that he continues to work because I think he's on another level above a lot of these other comedians. And this is like a kid who started on YouTube. So yeah, he's amazing.
It's like I honestly can't wait for like 40-year-old Bo Burnham can produce. Like 40-year-old, he's like, I've been through this entirely insane career. Now this is where I'm at. It's like, and that's still like years away.
So Bo Burnham, I was leaning towards, but I think Kimber pretty much nailed it all. Yeah. And I want to say that I'm also a big fan of Donald Glover's stand-up, aka Childish Gambino. but he only really did that one stand-up special. Well, I think he did two, Weird and something else. But I want to talk about I think what's the most intimidating about doing stand-up and stuff is that you have to be a good storyteller. See, I can't even say the word teller, so I'm done. But I think one of the best comedic storytellers is Mike Birbiglia.
Mike Birbiglia.
See, I'm a horrible storyteller. But he could just find the funny things and little details of like everyday life, and his specials are really enjoyable. And
the thing I like about Mike Birbiglia is that he considers his entire special before he writes it. A lot of comedians, they give you a bit and a bit and a bit, but Birbiglia is giving you one huge story that wraps back around at the end and becomes like just one giant story, and it's amazing what he does. I don't remember what the hell. My Weakness is Strong. Is that his special? One of those, but he has that one special where it all becomes like that whole big tale that he's weaving.
He does that every single time. Where
he blew me away. I was crying and laughing, and he's really good.
Because he was going through some kind of lawsuit or whatever, and it kept coming back up, and yeah, it was really good. But yeah.
Mike Birbiglia is great too, and he's been in movies. Like, what was he? He was in the freaking.
Was he in Weird Thing? Like
no, he was in the two kids that are dying and they're in love.
Oh God,
The Fault in Our Stars. He was in that one. He was like the Jesus camp teacher or whatever.
I was trying to think of that movie, and all I could see was Nolan's face.
And Tom Zambino saying he directed a movie called Don't Think Twice and that it was really good.
Nice.
He's a talented guy.
I wanted to see Don't Think Twice. I never got around to it.
Well, if Mike Birbiglia is involved, I would probably give you my endorsement that it's probably pretty good, because that dude is another one who's really smart and talented. And if you guys don't watch stand-up comedy, there are some really good stand-up comedians nowadays, and you can catch a lot of their stuff on Netflix. Definitely check it out.
I don't want anyone who's answering these questions when they call in to feel like that they have to talk about stand-up comedians. The question is comedian, so it could be writer, performer, whatever. We just happen to all focus on.
Yeah.
I just like stand-up. Yeah. But I think that was all the questions for tonight. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you, Eric?
All right. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter @BunkBunker. You're gonna find our episode of Down Pilot on Awesome Town here soon, because we're going to actually record that. We set a time.
We set a time.
We set a time where we're going to record the next episode. Finally.
Yeah, actually, so what I want from you people in the chat, because I'm going to make you work this episode. Not really. I just need to know what days are best for you to watch a podcast. It may sound like a silly question, but I kind of want to know just so I know what, because we're going to have 4 weekly shows or monthly shows, 4 monthly shows, but they're rotating on this day. So it's going to be Down Pilot Podcast with Eric and myself. Movies with Super Friends, hosted by Billy Pollahan, and Down Pilot. Wait, nope. From Coat to Script with TJ Dexter. There's going to be a 4th one in there. I don't know what it is yet. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so you tell me in the chat, what days are best for you to watch podcasts? Pre-recorded, not live.
Yeah. That's
Avenger says it's 11:50 a.m. Where are you, Avenger? Australia. That's how they get you.
Yeah. Anyway, other stuff that I got. You could also see me on the Game Fixer channel with my show that I co-host. Is It Rotten? We just had our episode on the Rugrats movie. Our first episode sans Corey, but not but still before his retirement, just because he kind of was busy. But yeah, it's so far it's our only episode with just the 3 of us, and it actually goes by pretty quick comparatively to the episodes. Amazing what one less person talking will do to a runtime. But yeah, it's like I will eventually get to the video that I wanted to record as like sort of as a companion to that, about me talking about the greater themes of the Rugrats movie, or as it will later be titled as the title of the video is How the Rugrats Movie Taught Me to Be a Big Brother, which is which is going to be the video that I'm going to be putting out.
I'm gonna say it. Rugrats may be Bruce Willis's best film.
Shut up. As it's like I have not made, if I have not made it perfectly clear, I very much dislike Rugrats Go Wild, but that's enough of that.
Well, he was the voice in the series too, as Spike, wasn't he?
No, it was just Rugrats Go Wild.
Oh, really? I thought he
Yeah.
also provided the voice in the series.
No,
Woof.
No.
He did like 2 woofs, and then they just played it over and over.
no, it was purely stunt casting for the crossover movie.
Look, man, Bruce Willis, I believed him as a dog.
All right, that's enough of that.
All right. Well, Eric, if you don't want to be here, you can just go.
Fine, I'll go then.
But don't. No. What have I done? Eric. I'll see him on Wednesday when we record. Okay. I can hear myself on Kimber's phone, and it's very distracting. So, who's next? It's Tom Zambino. I had a co-host, but she disappeared. So I'm gonna get the link, and we're gonna get Tom Zambino from Zed Reviews, also from Popcorn Talk, Popcorn Movies. No Avenger, you just got here. You know what bugged me out? About 6 months ago, I learned that when you snap your fingers, the snap doesn't come from your fingers. It comes from your finger hitting your palm. Hi. Hello.
Oh, hello. There we go.
A Tale of Two Toms.
Tom squared.
Ooh. So, how's it going? You in for a funny night?
Oh, you know me. I always bring the dry humor.
Yeah.
That was not a joke. That was a statement.
Is that Picard on your shirt?
It is Picard on my shirt. It's Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. September 1991. There's some
good year for shirts.
There are some variations of this shirt that actually have tour dates on the back. I do not have that fancy of a shirt.
Yeah, I wanted to do some kind of tour date thing when we go and do a Night's Watch again and do the things because we had that whole thing, the shirts. Anyway, the first question is what is your favorite comedy / parody song?
So that question really breaks down to me to what's my favorite Weird Al song?
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Which is it's all about the Pentiums. Because when I was a kid, I was PC, so that actually made sense to me as a kid, and I was the weird kid that got it and that noticed the Drew Carey cameo in the video, which awesome video by the way. So yeah, all about the Pentiums and that album as a whole. I think I literally made my dad hate Running the Scissors because as a kid I listened to that album so damn much.
Dude, Albuquerque was my jam.
Yes.
In Albuquerque. All right, question number 2. What is the best comedy series on television?
Just to clarify, on television right now.
No, anytime.
I mean, just as a legacy award, you got to give it to The Simpsons. But I'm going to shout out the current TV show, The Orville, because I love that show and it was hilarious.
Yeah, I've been kind of even seeing some shade being thrown at the second season of Discovery because they were putting like Orville gags in the trailer, and they're like, "Oh, you're not going to be trying to be serious anymore." Like people are worried.
I have not seen. I actually haven't seen the Discovery trailer, but I did hear it got lighter and more Orville-like, which I don't blame them. The little bit of Star Trek Discovery I did see was overly serious. Like every Star Trek series has been a bit serious, but a bit self-aware as well. You have to have that level of self-awareness, and I only saw one episode of Discovery, and they just didn't have that. It was just sad and miserable, and they were a lot of them were terrible.
Oh no. This isn't funny at all.
Look who's back! Back again. So
Back.
we're on the third question, which
Third
is
or second?
we just answered the second.
Okay, I just walked in.
That's what I'm saying. I'm updating you.
Just gotta catch you up on all the bits.
Yeah,
I was watching on my phone, but then I heard you talking smack, so I had to turn the volume down.
You're like, what was the third question?
I don't know. You had the questions. I know the fourth question.
No, we're lost
Is this a
forever.
TV show one?
No, this is.
So it's okay. I got this.
Okay.
The third question is, which movie that wasn't a comedy made you laugh the most?
There you go. I think that he needs to be the Tom in hosting now. All right, go ahead.
Well, it seems I've become victorious in the Battle of Toms, proving once again that mutton chops make you immediately lose. Anyway, so what was I saying? Does the Room count as a movie that wasn't a comedy?
Yes.
Good, because Tommy Wiseau was full of shit. That movie was dead serious and was also hilarious. My friend and I downed a six-pack the first time we watched it and laughed our asses off. So
yeah,
it's always The Room.
You took this question the same way I took the question, which was like, what's a movie that's unintentionally funny?
Yeah, it's unintentional because obviously the guy thought he was making a serious movie, but it's one I always go back to as I love really, really bad movies. Like a lot of there's that general good bad, and The Room is the perfect example of good bad.
Yeah, I fully agree. We want to start possibly doing a show that's about movies that are so bad that they're good. And if you want to know what I watched recently that I thought was, got so bad that it became good again, and I think that they intended this, but it was really successful to me, but it was that second Kingsman movie, The Golden Circle.
I love that movie legitimately.
I think that it was bad, but I think that it was so bad that it was hysterical and it was slaying me. And the Elton John stuff was like, it was almost too much to bear. Like it was killing me how funny it was. But I love stuff like that. I love when people aren't afraid to like let it get so ridiculous that it's hilarious. Because like Tom was watching with me and he was like kind of grumpy that night and he was like, this sucks. But then like it won him over. Like it came back around for him. Like they were losing him in that the sequence with like the little how do I even describe that thing? Like the little air trolley skiing doodle and
oh yeah.
Yeah, like they were losing
Ski
him.
lift.
It won him over. We're talking about that Kingsman movie.
No, Elton John won me over.
I was about to say
back as your host.
He literally wanted like the whole movie to just be Elton John.
I mean, I was just about to say you can't be sad watching a movie through Elton John's fabulous purple glasses.
Yeah, like at whatever day it is, Tom has been going Monday, Monday, Monday. Candace is talking about it on the chat. Oh, Joe saying Country Road, take me home.
Man, that was a good year for John Denver last year. That was a good year.
Yeah. It's been the meme. But yeah, so there are some great ones.
Rocket Man.
All right. Anything else you wanted to say about The Room, or was that about it?
I mean, what can I say about The Room that hasn't already been said?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. We have one more question for you tonight, and it is: what comedian do you think is the most brilliant?
I feel like this question is the one that everyone is going to struggle with. And I, of course, struggle with that because the first thing that pops into your head is George Carlin, but that's not my answer. Because George Carlin, as great as he was, as I was thinking about the criteria in my head, he repeated a lot of bits. Because obviously he was around for a long time, so he repeated bits, repeated materials, as a lot of comedians do. And I thought to myself, who can I think of that changes up their act so much that they can be fresh almost every time they walk out? And my answer was Dimitri Martin. I've actually seen him live. This was after I saw Jim Gaffigan live and was incredibly disappointed because he basically just did the Jim Gaffigan bit over and over again and just defaulted back to Hot Pockets. And it was like the same Hot Pockets bit he's been doing for the last 10 or 15 years, which yeah, was funny the first time, but after about 10 years, I kind of want you to shut the hell up about Hot Pockets. But Dimitri Martin, every time he whips out that pad of paper and starts whipping out the charts, almost every time I've seen him, he's had different charts with different silly puns. Because, I mean, most of his humor is based on puns or stories that lead up to puns. But the fact that he's able to twist and contort his act around puns and have so many creative charts, which appeals to me as a lover of charts. So it's Dimitri Martin. The dude's just incredibly creative, and I can't wait for his comedy special in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like when people who are comedians also like do another thing. And that's why I think I like people like Bo Burnham, because like that dude could be known for like being a songwriter. He could just be known for like, all kinds of crap, but he chooses comedy and then uses all the tools that he has. And I appreciate that as well. And it is like these newer guys are forced to freshen up their material a lot more than they had to be, because it was, I think, in Carlin's time, people did want to see your hits. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to, if you go to see George Carlin, you wanted to see him tell that joke that you think is funny.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore, because we've seen their jokes from their comedy specials. Everybody has Netflix and they've seen, Donald Glover's special or whoever's special. And you've got to have something new for people or else they don't care.
When a band releases a record, that's what they play when they tour. And back then, that's how comedians made money, is they sold records.
Yeah.
And then they would go and tour their greatest hits. So it makes sense.
But
you're right.
I was watching have you guys watched Come Inside My Mind? It's the Robin Williams documentary that's on HBO. One thing,
I've seen it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, he's not like my favorite comedian of all time. He's definitely been in some movies that I love, but when he starts getting into his goofy Robin Williams thing, I find him kind of annoying, much like Jim Carrey, who I think is better when he's a serious actor. I kind of think both of them are. But his documentary was really interesting, and one thing that I liked about it is they were talking about how he did this special at the Met, and they were saying that when he went on stage, like 80% of the stuff that he performed was like off the top of his head or had never been, rehearsed to. It was like his manager or something who was telling the story. And like, he was saying that that's completely unheard of, especially at a venue like that. A lot of people are so pressured that they feel like they can't perform something that isn't incredibly well rehearsed. So it is cool when you have someone like, oh damn, like all of that is new. That's mind blowing that someone could do something like that. 80% of their show brand new every time, like off the top of their head. But Mark Maron's kind of like that too.
He did a lot of coke.
Yeah, he did. And yes, Candace, I'm fully with you. That's his best work. But yeah.
What was his best work? I missed that.
She's saying that The Truman Show and The Majestic are wonderful with Jim Carrey, and Chase is following that up with Eternal Sunshine.
How can we not talk about the brilliant number 23?
No.
So
Man on the Moon's also
Truman Show is great, but we need to talk about Man on the Moon if you're going to talk about Jim Carrey's best.
Yeah, I just said the same thing too.
It's Man on the Moon.
It's Man on the Moon. You got to get on fan friction. I think you'd be good, Tom.
I did it once. It didn't end quite well, but hopefully I'll get a second shot.
I'll put in a good word for you. But was that all the questions?
That is all the questions.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Right now, you can find me trolling around southeastern Michigan. That's pretty much it. Also on Twitter, RoadRaider3, saying random stuff and sharing pictures.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, we hope to see you next time. And I feel like this is a good time to say, if you guys ever have ideas for the next show, we don't know what we're doing exactly yet. So just tweet us and let us know.
Arnold!
Huh?
Arnold!
What?
All right, buddy.
What do you say?
Huh?
What do you say?
I don't know. I guess he's going to have to tweet us and let us know.
Okay. Oh, no, he's gone! Why do you keep leaving me?
Who do we have up next?
We have Joe and Ashley
I love
next.
those guys.
No, because they'll leave me too. Before we go to that, let's go to a commercial break. What? A commercial break? Yeah, that's right. Odd Shape Panel is sponsored not only by Audible, where you can go to audibletrial.com/oddshapechannel and get a free audiobook, but yeah, let's do a commercial.
Hello, friends. Morbo here. I'm making an unboxing video. This is something I also spent working on. And it's a t-shirt. And then here's the shirt. Don't mess with Mavis. It's from Odd Shape Channel. They have a cat named Mavis. Just like I have a cat named Mavis. We both have. They just moved to Austin, Texas. So they made that shirt. But it's like, they have shirts that say don't mess with Texas. It says don't mess with Mavis. And I really like that shirt.
So that's a lie. The link's not in the description, but you can go to our website, oddshapechannel.com, and it'll be right there for you. And some news, a little featurette about the road to Kimber for fan fiction, since everyone's bringing up fan fiction in the chat. Some blog entries, cool stuff over at oddshapechannel.com. Let's get the next callers in here. The Davises, but which account am I calling?
Usually Jill.
It is usually Joe.
Yes, please get audiobooks. That really helps support the show, and you get to have a cool audiobook. Really, it's a win-win.
Yes, if you go to our website, there should be a link to the Audible trial thing right at the bottom of our.
I think it's working. Can you guys hear us?
Yes.
We hear you, Joe.
Awesome.
Hello, friends.
I am Steve Rogers.
I am Groot.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I'm trying to get the right angle here.
Every angle is your right angle.
Only when I'm 90 degrees.
Oh, you guys look good now. Okay, cool. So y'all like comedy?
Of course.
Actually, we're deadpan. We hate it. It's the worst.
Really?
No.
Comedy's the best. It's my favorite genre.
Fair.
And why haven't you suggested this before?
I do have a feeling what your answer for question 1 might be. Or at least who your answer for question 1 might be.
There's really a lot of choices for that.
There
so
are.
we're just getting right into it.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, for the parody comedy question.
Yeah, what's your favorite comedy or parody song?
You want to go first?
I will. Mine is D&D by Stephen Lynch.
Mom thought about that one too.
That song is. I always appreciate it when people make like gaming jokes that I can take making fun of gamers as long as they're making fun of gamers accurately, and that makes fun of gamers relatively accurately, in tone and feel and everything else. At least how you feel when you're in like junior high and a gamer.
Yeah, it really captures that whole like feeling of isolation and such, and yeah, a lot of the things are accurate. A lot of his songs are pretty great. I really like his impression of Billy Corgan losing his car keys. Like it's literally a 30-second song, but
that just ends with, "Oh, here they are.
Oh, here they are. Where the hell are my car keys? I had them right here in my hand."
Yeah, we were talking about Stephen Lynch too when we were discussing, because me and Tom will discuss like, oh, what are we gonna say for our answers and stuff, and he certainly came up because he was a little like ahead of his time, one of the original people who was doing like comedy music, with like Weird Al and even Adam Sandler back in the day. But I remember being a kid and they like the radio station in my hometown had like the 5:30 funnies. And like literally like half the time it was like a Stephen Lynch song. So I grew up like listening to that stuff.
Nice.
We had a burn CD we would listen to everywhere we go.
Yeah, that was definitely one like you'd have to listen to the songs first before you like drive around in your car, because if you had never heard the songs before, like you would literally
You could lose it.
Almost wreck your car laughing so hard. Like he's got a lot of great ones, and then like, you know, Weird Al is definitely the gold standard for a lot of people for like parody and comedy songs. And it's kind of interesting now where like the old model where he could make an album and release it, but the way the internet's going now, I wonder if his next album will be more like a series of just singles, because he like the Mandatory Fun was his the last one on his actual like record contract. So be interested to see what he does in the future. But one of my favorite comedy songs is from Rhett and Link. It's called My Favorite Pillow. And it's actually a song for like it's like a lot of their songs are like commercials because you know you got to make money. It's hard out there. And so it's a song for like this, I think it was like some online mattress company, but it's really funny because if you don't know it's about a pillow at first, it sounds like it's about your best friend being there for you, and then it gets revealed like at the end of the first verse that it's your pillow, and it's really funny. It has a really cute video. So that's one of my favorites. Of course, I have tons of other favorite songs. I could have chosen anything from Toast of London.
Yeah, I'm actually utterly and completely floored that neither one of you picked Toast of London, because I would have like bet my left arm on it.
Toast is up there, but like all the music from Now That Sounds Like Music from the Kimmy Schmidt series,
yeah,
where it's a bunch of like knockoff like Walmart brand versions of popular music, is fantastic.
For sure.
Yeah, there's so much to choose, but definitely Toast of London, because even though he recycles the melodies for his songs, like how they tie it within the show, and just like the hilariousness of the lyrics, like the one where he's at the hoarder's house and then his other friend who's not his girlfriend shows up and they're just like talking about him, and it's just insane.
Yeah, we thought of you guys yesterday too, because Kate and Michael, who you met when you were here, are fans of Toast of London, and they brought it up in conversation. And I'm like, man, you need to talk to Ashley and Joe about this. They were doing like the whole yes thing.
Yes!
Can we get a no?
Which the guy who plays Clem Fandango, you guys were talking about Star Trek earlier, is on Star Trek Discovery. So
We've gone full circle.
Yes.
We have.
All right, question 2.
Question 2 is, what is the best comedy series currently on television? No, not currently. Anytime.
Just TV.
On
comedy
TV.
series.
Ignore me.
So my initial one at least was The Good Place, and it probably still is, because I really can't think of anything that and there's not that there aren't a ton of fantastic comedy shows out there. and ever has been or ever will be even. But it's really hard to compete with how smart that show is and how
it's so well crafted,
diabolically funny that show is.
The writing, man, is so tight.
I am always a sucker for clever and humorous usage of like philosophy and metaphysical concepts, and that's why I'm excited for what the one with David Tennant and the.
Are you talking about Good Omens?
Yeah, I'm excited for that concept because it feels like it's probably going to be absolutely hilarious.
Michael Sheen is the name you were looking for,
right? But I love just the use of like the trolley car problem and things like that. Just all the stuff they do in that show, and it all loops back around to like ethical philosophy and things like that, and it's just fantastic.
And Kristen Bell is so great in that show because like we're so used to her being like a good moral character, like from Veronica Mars or other things that she's been in.
Parks
like,
and
Rec. There's been a few things where she's been kind of like not like bad per se, but not the good persona. But in this one, like she's the worst person. Like when they show the clips of her like before she died and like all the awful stuff that she had done to like her roommates and other people and the job she worked at. It's just great to see her in this kind of this role, and then the fact that they can't cuss because it's the good place, and so the little substitute bad words, we say those a lot at work.
Yeah, I would love to see the outtakes reel. There has to be an outtakes reel where they said the bad words on accident. You know, it's flown out a couple times, but like, yeah, that it's like seeped into popular culture really quickly, like saying bench and like all the words that they're using on that show to cover up for the bad words. Like I hear people doing it and I'm like, oh man, like you watched The Good Place.
What the fork?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it started with the shut the front door thing from the commercials.
But
I've been in with that since I started doing tabletop gaming because Shadowrun did the Battlestar Galactica thing and like replaced all of the curse words with like cyberpunk sounding stuff like Frag and Dreckhead, and I'm just like, okay.
Candace brought up something in the chat that I would like to address. She said Sarah Marshall is a good example of a character where she's not like necessarily the goody two shoes.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, that movie's amazing, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and it's super well written. And Jason Segel, bless you, I love you, another great comedian of our times.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with that movie is she does come off like a bad guy at the beginning, but really she's not. You get that amazing scene where she breaks down and she's like, listen, like I've tried so hard in this relationship. I took sex classes. I took this, that, and the other thing. Like she really tried. Like she's a super layered character. So yes, she's played up to be kind of the villain because you're getting the movie from his character's perspective, but she's not necessarily a bad person. She's just gotten herself into a bad situation because this is where the events in her life have led.
It's like she's realized that that's not the life she wants anymore.
Yeah, it's just like she's dealing with depression and stuff because she's been in this really long-term relationship and it's just not like doing what she wants to anymore. And like, yes, it's wrong that she cheated, but she's not inherently a bad person. She just did a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
everyone's human.
Yeah, that movie is amazing.
Nobody's nerfect.
Nobody's nerfect.
But Candace is correct. She's not like a super innocent, like you see her on Parks and Rec, and she plays like the chick from Eagleton, and she's perfect, and she's better at everything, and she's beautiful, and
singing.
You know. But like Fanboys is another good example where she's not necessarily playing her type. She's an underrated actress, man. She's really good.
Yeah, we just watched a movie that's new on Netflix that has her in it, starring opposite Kelsey Grammer, called like Father. And like while the movie wasn't super great overall, it was very much like, are they making this movie so they could go on a vacation cruise because it's set on a cruise? Like the work with them together was really good. Like they played off each other really, really well.
It's like all the actors were really good. It's just the movie itself was kind of a dud.
Yeah, kind of mediocre. And then going to my favorite show, we'll give shout out to Toast of London. Because that show is so amazing. Matt Berry is a very it's so interesting the type of comedian he is, where he's always playing these like horrible human beings who would definitely be like #MeToo times up kind of guys, but in real life he's not like that. He's actually a much more sensitive guy and an actual nice guy, not like the fake kind with a fedora and such. And his character on that show is so hilarious because he's this old style actor who does not understand that times have changed, and like he doesn't know any new actors' names at all. Anytime his agent mentions someone who is at that A-level famous, he's like, who's this?
I think literally the only one he knows when she mentions it is Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, they have a great episode that has is it John Hamm?
Yeah.
Where he's like infatuated with John Hamm because he has so much charisma. There's a lot of great songs on the show, and then like, Matt Berry's character, Stephen Toast, is just the most pathetic. Like he's in this awful play after play. All these directors want him dead. He does all this voiceover work, but the people that work at the studio are so rude to him. His life is just so terrible. It's truly awful, and he's not a great person, but there's just something about his character and the situations where you kind of feel bad for him, and it's just really funny.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but Kimber seems to really enjoy it, and you guys seem to really enjoy it. But Kimber was just saying how much she enjoyed that John Hamm episode, and not enough people like realize how funny John Hamm is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
He's one of the best parts in Kimmy Schmidt. You know what I mean? Like he's not in it often, but he's hilarious.
He's so hot that people forget that he's hilarious, and like he's so well known for stuff like Mad Men,
yeah.
where he is giving a great dramatic performance. But that dude is equally as funny as he is a good dramatic actor. Like he could have been a straight up comedy actor. He's just really attractive. So people, I think, leading man.
It's almost. What are you gonna say?
He was one of the better parts of like Children's Hospital for as little as he was in it.
I don't know anything about that.
Which one?
Children's Hospital.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I didn't. Oh wait.
The Netflix the
Yeah.
Cartoon Network show.
The one dude's a clown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Henry Winkler was great in that.
Yep.
He's funny.
But I think Channing Tatum. I can never say his.
You mean
he's
Channing Tate-Yum?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's another one who you don't really think as like funny, but then when he's given the opportunity, well, no, like Jump Street.
Yeah.
Like no one expected him to be as funny as he was. You know
Do you know who surprised me? How funny they were? Freaking John Cena.
Yeah.
He's really hilarious.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting how some people are known for one.
Because it's almost like if you're hot, you can't be funny. You know what I'm saying?
People don't expect.
Yeah.
They don't. You're given so many different opportunities when you're conventionally attractive versus if you're schlubby looking or just average and you have great comedic timing. You get like thrown into that track. If you're conventionally attractive, here you get down to the leading man, leading lady ingenue track, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I think it's like it's almost like if you're schlubby, you have to be funny in order to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of like mentality.
And it's the same because you see the opposite too, like somebody like Jason Segel, where Jason Segel, I find him incredibly attractive, but I would say he's kind of like an average looking dude. But I think that dude's a much better dramatic actor than people give him credit for, but because of his look and stuff, they cast him as funny.
Well,
so
like
it works both ways.
Robin Williams is a key example of that. Is like he was known for comedy, and it wasn't until he like tried stuff like Dead Poets and Good Morning Vietnam where there's humor in it, but it's the serious stuff that people kind of remember, especially people that didn't grow up with like Mork and Mindy might remember him better for.
I mean, Tom Hanks as well. He started out strictly as a comedic actor. I think he was in like a couple of serious things, but it wasn't until like the early 90s when he started doing like Philadelphia and all of that, where he almost transitioned exclusively to dramatic roles. And when he's in comedy, like he's very rarely in like a straight up comedy now. And it's kind of sad because he was really funny.
He's David S. Pumpkins.
Yes, I mean that's one of the greatest skits ever.
He doesn't really do like comedy movies as much anymore. He just does like little comedy bits.
For sure.
I think there's just for some people there's just a role that like changes everything because like when I think John Lithgow now, somebody said 30 Rock, and it just made me think of Third Rock from the Sun. But like when I was a kid and growing up, he was a funny dad, you know what I mean? And then you watch Dexter, and he's one of the most terrifying human beings.
Yeah,
you've
he's
ever come across.
haunting nightmare fuel in that show.
So and some people who miss out on like one movie, like their perception of them will always remain the same. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, just like even with like Adam Sandler, like I got a little respect for when he did Punch Drunk Love. Since then, I've lost a lot. But what question? Are we on the last one? Which no, we're on the third one.
We're on third.
Yeah.
We're just taking too much time.
It's fine.
I know Bill needs to get in.
Oh, so, yeah. It's not fine. We gotta hurry up. If you know what, if Tom Sambino was running this, it'd be.
They didn't both because I thought
we didn't.
They were saying the best show.
The third one is.
Yeah.
What is?
Oh yeah, shit. You're right. What movie that's not a comedy do you find hilarious?
This is actually a more challenging one, and my choice might be kind of a comedy, but it's a dark comedy. But it's a part that's not really played up as humorous, that I only laugh because of my mom's reaction to it. And it's Fargo. And it's when Peter Stormare is shoving Steve Buscemi's leg in the wood chipper, my mom turns into a flipping hyena every time watching that. So I'll see it somewhere and I'll just think of my mom laughing at this and I'll break down laughing at this. So,
dude, Peter Stormare is your dude.
I love me some Peter Stormare. Side note, also hilarious is his exchange with Keanu Reeves in Constantine. Peter Stormare is the best Satan.
But yeah, we say it every time, but you're right. He is.
You guys say. I like Tom Waits in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. That's a inspired casting Tom Waits as the devil.
Well, I like him as an angel in Risk Cutter. So
Candace is agreeing with you, though. Best Satan ever. So there it is. Nice.
Well, if Candace says it, you know it's true.
You know how I get with Candace.
Mine kind of goes back to what y'all were saying earlier about So Bad It's Good movies, and mine's Troll 2. Have you ever seen Troll 2? It was kind of this script that, like, the director totally intended this to be a serious horror movie. He insists to this day that it is not unintentionally funny, that this is a serious, good film that he made.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're eating them.
Oh no.
And then they're gonna eat me.
Nilbog is goblin spelled backwards. Like,
what are you doing, Dad? I'm tightening my belt. You ignore these hunger pains. Yeah, you don't pee on hospitality.
Yeah, because it's like this weird thing where they exchange they exchange homes for the summer, and so they go to Nilbog and they're gonna try to eat them, but the goblins are all vegetarian, so they have to convert them into vegetables they poisoned all of the food, and the little boy's grandfather keeps communicating with him. He's a ghost.
Yes, ghost grandpa.
And he told him, and so the only thing the boy could think of was to pee on all of the food, and it's such an awkward cut because one minute like there's all this food, the next minute it's like all gone, and it's implied that he peed on it, and like then he gets sent to bed, and nobody in this movie is like a really good actor. Like, no, I don't think they ever went on to do anything. There's a documentary about it called Best Worst Movie, where you kind of see like what happened to everybody after. Like the guy that plays the dad is like a dentist, and he was a dentist at the time, and he just went back to that career. But it's just so awful. The practical effects, they did not spend a lot of money on them, and they kind of appropriated it to be Troll 2, because Troll is actually about trolls. And then they're like, well, we'll just call it Troll 2, even though it's about goblins. And it's just definitely one of those ones that would be like on Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
I just thought of another one too, and to go with Eric's Infinity War, everything about Peter Dinklage and Chris Hemsworth's exchange when he's opening the iris is like, you're about to get blasted with a sun and it'll kill you, and then Thor's just like, only if I die first. And his response,
Yes.
yes. That's why I said if it'll kill you.
Yeah, Dinklage has some comedic timing on him, man. That dude's like a brilliant actor. Put him in everything.
One of my other ones was Game of Thrones when he slaps Joffrey. It's just that show is so serious, but that moment you just
that show gets funny. There's some funny stuff going on. Like everything that Braun says, funny. Like there's some funny characters for sure.
But because of that adventure fun time medieval funland thing, every time I think of that scene, I think they should make an iPad for babies because I do, and I just lose my shit every time.
Slaps him.
Question.
And speaking of brilliant, as he said it, I had a segue and I lost it. Who do you feel like is the most brilliant comedian?
I'm kind of partial to John Benjamin because that guy can go from being Coach McGurk in Home Movies, all with the same voice, by the way. Coach McGurk in Home Movies, Sterling Archer in Archer, Bob Belcher in Bob's Burgers, and a can of vegetables in Wet Hot American Summer. And they're all distinctly different characters, but he never changes his voice.
And he had that one fake news or parody news show, like H. John Benjamin in a van.
Yeah, John Benjamin has a van.
Where he was like a local reporter or something.
And then there's also he played Lucifer in Lucy, Daughter of the Devil.
I liked Lucy, Daughter of the Devil a lot.
That is such a great show. And I think the guy that plays Jam in Parks and Rec plays Jesus in that.
He's a hilarious comedian too. John Glazer. He's he was in
Isn't he Delocated?
Delocated and a lot of stuff, but he's really funny.
And the last thing, most recent thing that John Benjamin's been in that we've seen was an episode of Last Week Tonight with John crud.
Now I'm like totally forgetting the guy's name.
The British John Oliver. John Oliver.
So many Johns.
It was about the episode, or it was the episode about where they've been like locking kids and sending them to court and things like that.
Yeah, the kids that have to represent themselves in immigration court. They're like 5 and younger, and they're their own counsel, and they don't understand what's going on.
They have this sketch in there where it's this thing called Top Court, and Top Bench, and it's a bunch of like 3 to 5 year olds
running the court,
and John Benjamin's the only adult there, and he's on trial for arson, and he's like, what's going on?
It's great.
Eric Ossenmacher saying that Delocated was so strange. I loved Delocated. It was strange in the best way. And like the thing that really killed me was the ska mitzvah, because my Sweet 16 birthday party was basically a ska mitzvah. Like I had a ska themed Sweet 16 with like a checkerboard cake and like my ska band that I was in at the time. Lord of the Rings themed ska band. Yeah, Elvis Presley was one of the names. But yeah, where I sang in English and Elvis. True story, not making this up. So, but that ska mitzvah thing really hit home. I also like, because his girlfriend's name is Kim, so like the whole Kim's hand thing. Like Kim's hand, like that cracks me up every time. I used to paint like Delocated paintings and stuff. I love
just
that
guys
show.
in ski masks. People are like, she's practicing to be a criminal sketch artist.
And they were that Rage Cage thing, like that is a legitimate business model now that a lot of people have stolen, and that was definitely like an idea from that show. They were way ahead of that curve.
I like the Street Beat one where it's like his exercise on the street with like the lampposts.
Yeah.
Lord
of the Rings theme ska band sounds like the most Kimber thing ever. You're not wrong.
I want a Skins potato bars in my house.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
I liked his RV Airbnb.
And the Great Friend cereal.
No.
That too.
The ex-boyfriend's jackets. They all had matching. We should have a Delocated show.
For sure. But I'll let them get back to talking. I think they had more things to say.
All right, so this was such a difficult question for me because I used to watch a lot of stand-up comedy back in the late 90s and such. Like that's all I would ever watch was stand-up comedy specials, and just Comedy Central was just the channel that was on all the time. But I have to say that I think my favorite comedian is actually a comedic duo. That would be Key and Peele. From the very awesome show Key and Peele. Before that, they were on Mad TV. I think that's where they met. Just the social commentary on that show is just so brilliant. I love their voice, their timing, the way that they can carry like a bit like throughout the like not only just like in the skit but in like the whole series. They just have a really solid understanding for like what's going to work in the culture, and they're just brilliant. I hope that both of them have all the success and admiration in the world because those guys are hilarious.
I says, bitch.
But you said that right. You said.
Oh,
You said
yeah.
One of my favorite skits from them, I can't remember what season it is, but they're both in the movie theater, and there's of course like the whole trope about African American people yelling at the screen, and the way they turn it on their head in this one is they're actually talking about film criticism,
like breaking it down, like
oh man,
critically.
look, check out the mise en scene in this, and like the composition and all of like the film studies terms. It's hilarious, and they're just having like this great back and forth in the movie theater about film criticism for whatever film they're watching. Is probably one of my favorites. Besides, there's that one. There's the Power Falcons. The Proud Thug, and the one where they both discover they love Twilight. I like Twilight, you like Twilight. All right, on 3, tell me who your favorite character is.
We Are Not a Monolith.
Oh yeah, the Black Republican meeting,
which also had the son from the Cosby Show on it, Malcolm Jamal Warner.
That one was great.
So, and
then of course the substitute teacher one, that's like an all-time classic. Kids are always telling me about that one where he's like so angry and he's mispronouncing all the little white kids' names, which is awesome. Yeah, totally. And there's like another substitute one where it's like, this is going to be a serious day in class and I don't play around, and the guy farts and just leaves.
Yep.
Because he's like ruined all of his credibility by farting. And the vampire one where it's like I just
wanted to see future cars.
Yeah, he's tired of all of the gothic aesthetic of vampires and them like trying to drink the blood but all seductively. It's like, did you get any of that in your mouth? Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, just put it in a red Solo cup. We're just gonna chill. Just so many great things. I just love it.
Yeah, and I mean, not only comedy, like they're both very talented writers. Obviously, Jordan Peele is a very talented director. He's producing Black Klansman, which I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, we're going to get to see that on Wednesday. I'm so excited.
So, all right, well, I think we covered everything. You want to do your plugs? Because you guys are big-time YouTubers.
Whatever.
Well, you can find us at our channel, Geek to My Nerd. I've been messaging here, so you can just like click on my little icon there in the chat and follow it back there. And we've been doing quite a bit recently. We haven't had many movies to talk about, but we are doing our book club, which you can use their link. I believe Tom had mentioned it previously.
Yeah, the book that we're doing for this month is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. And so that'll be on August 26th. We'll do the discussion live. So if everybody reads the book, you can come and discuss it. We'll also be talking about the movie it was adapted into, which is called Love, Simon. So we're looking forward to having that discussion with everybody.
And then this evening, after your episode is finished, we'll be streaming some more of the video game Chasm on our channel.
Which is like a fun little dungeon delving game.
It Metroid/Castlevania
It doesn't have too much of a plot to follow, so if you haven't seen the other streams, you can just jump right in. It's not like super plot heavy, so it's just a fun little adventure.
Yeah. Feel free to come in the chat. Cal's been in there. We've had another person, RJ the Barbarian, showing up. Mm-hmm. It's been a good time, just chatting while we're playing.
Seeing me die a bunch because I'm terrible.
So many times. So.
Well, it sounds like a good time. definitely go check out their channel. It's Geek to My Nerd, and you can find it in our featured channel list here or here, one of these sides. And thank you so much for coming by and talking comedy with us tonight, guys.
Thank you for having
Of
us.
course.
You're both some funny people.
We try.
All right, well, have a great night.
You too, guys. Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye. Up next, Bill. Ghostface Billa. I was trying to do an air horn. I don't know if that. All right, Bill, hit that link whenever you get a chance. And then is TJ still here? TJ? So, all right, well, I think what we're going to do for the podcasts that I was discussing before is, yeah, I just said Bill. I said Bill. Click that link. Am I going crazy? I was just asking if TJ was around for after Bill. But yeah, we'll do like weekly Wednesdays or whatever. And the first one coming out is going to be Movies with Super Friends, hosted by Bill Pollahan. It's episode 1. They're going to be talking about the first Superman movie, live action. It's like a series or whatever. It's
yeah, well.
Hi.
There we go.
How's it going, Bill?
Good, man. How you been? Can you hear me all right?
I'm doing great. I love the t-shirt.
Thank you. Yeah. Had that one for a little bit.
It's a good one.
So, how's Texas?
It's hot.
Yeah, it's hot in PA too.
But I'll get
probably not as hot as down there, but it is pretty hot. So
it's not humid, which is nice.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's pretty humid here. So it's been a brutal summer. So but what are you gonna do?
Just die of heat exhaustion, pretty much.
No, I keep the air at 60, so that's not happening. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, central air is so good.
Die by electric bill.
He is cold, man.
I'm a human sweat gland. I got to survive somehow. So,
he tilts the camera, and it's like Walt Disney's like cryogenic body, like in the background. The world may never.
No, but Stallone does fight meat in my kitchen, so I do have that going for me. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's funny because we moved here like 3 months ago, and people are always like, "Oh, how are you doing with the heat?" I'm like, "I'm from Florida. I'm fine, man." But I worry about him.
I'm a puddle in the corner, like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, I am not designed for the summer. So.
Well, let's get right into these questions. Question number 1.
Yes. So, just a heads up, all the questions I couldn't pick any, so I'm going to have 2 answers, probably like a runner-up and my actual answer.
Okay, yeah.
So, because comedy's my wheelhouse. So
we call that pulling a Jason. We'll see if
there we go.
That in the chat.
It's too true. Oh
no! All right. So, question number 1 was, what is your favorite comedy or parody song? So,
runner-up. It would definitely go "Dare to Be Stupid." Weird Al is like my favorite Weird Al song. It is perfect. It is so funny. And oh, hello, Dr. Polaris. Yeah, thanks. That's good. The funniest thing about that song is I read an interview with Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo, because that's obviously who he was parodying at the time. And Mark Mothersbaugh was like, I was real mad when I heard it because it's the best Devo song ever written, and he wrote it, not us. So
that's quite an endorsement.
Yeah, he's like, we couldn't write a better song. That thing was perfect. So, but my personal favorite is from the Aquabats. If anybody out there is a fan, I don't know, but
Aquabats.
I adore the Aquabats. I pray to God their show comes back. But
Tom, he'll tell you I never stop. The Aquabats Super Show is like my favorite thing. It's
yeah, well, they just hit a Kickstarter to get a third season going. So
I know, and I see
yeah.
Black working with them too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. It's like Kate Micucci from like Garfunkel and Oates. There's just like a ton of people. So, but it's the "I Fell Asleep in My Arms" song, which is like the perfect like Korn new metal parody that turns into a Rage Against the Machine song halfway through. It's incredible. Every time I hear it, I just laugh.
Those dudes are so talented. I sing all the time to Tom. Burger Rain, Burger Rain. So good.
Anytime we order pizza at my house, it's pizza day, and I'll just start humming that. So
nice.
Yeah.
Man, I wish you were closer. You like
I'm sorry.
Stuff, man. We could hang.
Well, to be fair, we moved farther away.
That's true.
That point, yes. So, but that's the magic of the internet. It's like we're right there. So.
True story.
Yeah.
Question number 2.
Yes.
What is the best comedy series on television?
So I kind of read this as right now, and right now, my favorite right now is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I can always throw an episode on, and I will just laugh hysterically at anything happening at any given time. That is just a wonderfully constructed cast. Like, there is not one bad link in that chain. Like, everything fires on all cylinders from like the start. Like Andy Samberg, Terry Crews, all of them. It is just a wonderful ensemble, and I really am so glad we're getting a new season. I was like really worried about that, but my runner-up for that, which is a show I recommended, somebody turned me onto it, was The Mick that was on Fox, which just got canceled, which was Caitlin Olsen from Always Sunny. And my friend was like, "You really need to watch the show. The show is incredibly funny." And he was like, "I don't know. I'm not a Always Sunny fan, which is apparently sacrilege if you live in Philadelphia, but I don't know. I just could never get into it, but I gave it a shot because I'm like, all right, I usually trust my friends' recommendations, and I gave it a whirl, and I barreled through that show in no time. It is super hilarious. I cannot recommend The Mick enough. It's really a funny show. The whole thing's on YouTube. It's worth the stream.
Yeah, for sure. It's Always Sunny is like Morgan's favorite show of all time. That dude will talk your ear off about that show.
Yeah. I watched a few episodes. Oddly enough, the one with Keegan-Michael Key with the Family Feud one was kind of funny. And just like a lot of the time, they just get on my nerves too much, and I just can't enjoy it. But The Mick is great. I will not recommend that enough. It's just so good. I really highly recommend giving that a whirl. By episode 2, you're hooked.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. My favorite thing with It's Always Sunny is we love internet comment etiquette. I don't know how many of you guys know him. It's a YouTube channel, Commenticate. He's hilarious. He's Eric Salvia. He's like one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. He's always funny. But he had like a cameo on that show, and people are always tweeting him about it. He's like in the background.
No, they talk to him. He's sitting at the bar.
Yeah, but it's a cameo, and people are always like, "Were you on It's Always Sunny?" So he like cracks jokes about it. He's a funny dude.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
Next question.
Next question is, what movie that isn't a comedy made you laugh the most? And I'm looking forward to your answer.
Okay, so I got 2 here. My runner-up is going to be Birdemic, because that is unintentionally the funniest thing I've ever seen. I found it. It was like it somehow showed up in my Netflix thing. Like, oh, you might like this, and I watched like 20 minutes of it. I'm like, why would you think I would like this? But I just kept going, and I'm like, this movie is patently ridiculous. And then the riff tracks came out for it. I'm like, this is the funniest thing I have ever seen. And every time I want to get a friend of mine in the riff tracks, I show them the Birdemic episode, and they always thank me for it. It is just, even, I must have seen it like 15 times, and I still laugh at it every time I watch it. There's just something I forget, or some joke, or just like, it drives it home. But my other choice, and I really need to push this one, is the 1987 classic Hard Ticket to Hawaii, if nobody has ever seen this. This movie was filmed on cocaine, and I mean like instead of film, because it has to be. I can't begin to describe how nuts this film is. It's Andy Sedaris, who was like a TV producer who decided to make like shitty Skinamax movies, and this is like one of his earliest ones. There are people shooting people with rocket launchers, gratuitous nudity for no good reason. Like, I can't describe how absolutely insane this movie is. There is a great How Did This Get Made episode, and when I saw that was coming up, I freaked out because I actually saw this before then, because I'm like a big fan of like really shitty like 80s, 90s like schlock movies like that. It is just so funny. There is, funny enough, it's free on YouTube. Somebody put it up. Don't report it. Just watch it. Like, please don't report it. I need this in my life because I don't own a copy anymore. There is a really famous scene that's always shown out of context where a guy shoots a blow-up doll with a rocket. Or a guy stabs another guy with a frisbee. Like, I could go on about this, but me trying to describe just the insanity of this film does it zero justice. So I would watch it, and then actually I would give the How Did This Get Made episode a listen, and just them going over it is super hilarious, but well worth your time. You will thank me later for that one. So
yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm sure that like riffability in movies, like when you watch something, you're like, man, I hope they do this one.
You know what? I do, but I know with that one there is too much gratuitous nudity. They can never do like a riff track. It's just like every 5 minutes for no good reason. We are watching people like women get changed in real time.
One of my
like, no, we got to stop. Yeah. So.
One of my favorite things of the new series of MST3K is it's almost like they made Tom's hovering skirt to function correctly so he can censor things in the. And
you're talking about the Avalanche episode where he flies up. Yeah. Oh my god, that is my favorite bit. I hope they never stop doing that. I
think it's so clever.
So good.
Yeah, I just had to say that because there are ways to riff nudity, but like you're saying, if it's that much, you can't have Tom he'll run out of fuel. I don't know.
So I actually saw the last riff tracks live where they were doing Space Mutiny, and they did unedited. So there was like 15, 20 minutes that they had to cut out for the television run, and there is a nude scene in it, and they have this like bear come out with balloons in the middle of it to block the shot. It's really funny.
All right, and the last question of the night: which comedian do you think is the most brilliant?
So I got a dead tie for this one because I had to really think about it. So, the first one I'm going to go over is Richard Pryor, because if there was ever a greater injustice in history, it's Richard Pryor was one of our greatest comedians who could not make a funny movie. And it is a crying shame. Like, you've seen him in like Superman 3 or The Toy or any other thing, but then you go and watch like Richard Pryor on the Sunset Strip, and how unbelievably funny he was. Like, he could take the worst parts of his life and just find comedy in it and just make it so funny. And I adored Richard Pryor, especially when he got with Gene Wilder. Those two together were like one of the best teams that ever lived. Like Silver Streak and See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and Stir Crazy are like they just knew how to play off each other and what worked and what didn't. And it was just, I wish we would have gotten more out of those guys. But such is the way of life. But my other comedian I always go to is Bill Hicks, is bar none. Like, that guy was way ahead of his curve. He was doing jokes like in the late 80s, early 90s that are funny enough. Like, you listen to him today, this album's like that he was putting out, they sound like they could have came out last week, with just the way he's like discussing things and just like the jokes he's making and the points he kind of digs at. I always, like, he was one of those guys I always pushed on people, and because I was a huge fan of stand-up comedy. I know a lot of friends of mine to do it, and Bill Hicks was always the one I went to. And like when they started putting out his like unedited albums, when you would hear like a live show and how weird it would get, but he would always somehow win the crowd over, even when he's like yelling and cursing somebody out in the middle of the show, but he could still turn it around and get the crowd on his side. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. Like, we really lost that guy way too early, unfortunately.
Dude, I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy, and I would like almost pray for somebody to heckle me because I wreck people. I feel like that would absolutely be like my strongest suit. I would be like begging for somebody to heckle me.
And I don't think people give Richard Pryor enough credit for like how open he was about his bisexuality and stuff like that. Like, and like that kind of information just kind of gets buried. Like, I feel like, I mean, everybody makes some bad decisions in life, but I feel like he's kind of more nefarious.
Yeah, they want to talk about like drug use and stuff like that.
They, like, kind of, I think he was super talented and he doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing Gene Wilder too, another like brilliant comedian who definitely deserves mention in this episode.
Oh my God, yeah, I love Gene Wilder.
Yeah, me too.
All right, last question of the night. Wait,
this is the last question.
No, that means Bill has to go.
I'm sorry. Oh man.
Well, before you go, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and if you're working on anything currently?
I have taken a bit of a hiatus, but I know we need to get together, me and you, Tom. Yeah, that is long overdue. So my schedule is going to lighten up after the end of the month. So once schools start opening up. Okay. So, my next month will be good. But you can find me on Twitter at Philadelphia, PA. That's still my Twitter handle. And then hopefully I'll get back into the swing of things and get my old show rolling again. So, and maybe, I think that's about it. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out any of Bill's earlier content, we went on for Mask of the Phantasm, right?
Yes, we did.
Oh, man, that was fun.
Yes.
So
that was a good time, yeah.
What's the name of your series?
It's Research and Destroy. You should be able to search for it on that. So. Yeah,
so definitely check that out if you want to hear.
And I believe it's that's also on Twitter. I forget what the handle is. I haven't logged into it in a little while, so I might have to dust that one off and pray to God it wasn't turned off for being a bot. So.
Well, as long as you weren't helping rig any elections, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, no.
All right, Bill. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
See you soon, buddy.
Bye.
So we have Candace.
Nope.
Why? What happened?
Candace is.
Why?
You haven't been reading this chat this whole time.
No, I stepped away. What happened?
Candace has to be up early in the morning.
I don't like that. She's next.
But she gave her answers.
No.
Unfortunately,
no,
they're
Candace,
lost to time because of our chat.
I don't like it.
But she gave some great answers.
Of course she did.
I think she's still watching.
I know, that's why I'm complaining. Sigh.
Candace, oh my God.
No.
Amber acts like she didn't just
You were
talk
gonna
to
be
her
next.
last week.
I know, but that's not. She needs to move to Austin so I can talk to her every day.
Don't cry, Jonathan.
So you're beautiful with no makeup on. You were next.
I don't have makeup on.
See, now Raul's here, but you were next.
That's not Raul. That's not Raul at all.
Hey.
Talking about a British invasion.
Hello. It's
Now
been
she's
so
saying,
long.
okay.
I'm Raul now. I've lost a lot of weight, but I still have the same sized head.
I think all your weight went into your beard.
Got
it.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Hi, guys.
Hey. What's up, fellas?
Nothing. Morgan enjoying my couch.
Very nice couch.
How's your trip going?
Lovely. Swimmingly. We had a wonderful weekend, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
A lovely weekend.
Morgan got to meet all the people from the Schmola.
It was very emotional. Probably too unnecessarily. I'm going to take this hat off. Probably too emotional for my own sanity.
Well, I was
Yeah.
hoping that you guys would call in together because, you know, this is a pretty legendary meetup.
Legend is that what it is?
Yes,
Legendary.
of course. It's a big crossover.
It's a legend, therefore it doesn't exist.
It don't exist. Legends sometimes they exist.
You tell him.
Well, mate.
See, I pay attention in literature, so
I thought I did. Clearly, I didn't.
and also we got to see me, Leonard Maltin and
We
Jesse
did.
Maltin.
We did. Although the show isn't about what we've been doing for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then you got to meet me and call you every single
I didn't
day
get to meet you.
and touch this beer.
Please don't do that. I feel really nasty. Okay.
I think this is what the show is now.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm jealous. I'm jealous that I'm not there. Like everyone
Oh.
to hang out with beautiful Janine. I haven't even got to hang out with Janine yet. And then Morgan is there, and Raul, and all my
not
friends
good
are
enough.
there, and we don't get to even see them. It's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, also I have made Morgan see we watched today Undercover Brother, one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of comedy,
speaking of comedy, it's a good segue.
Yeah. And I saw you guys were hanging out with Brandon. I like how Morgan says Brandon's name.
Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah.
It's the short vowels. Don't call me Brandon. I wish I didn't shout it.
All right. Well, maybe we should get into these questions. The first question, and either one of you fellas can start. That's totally up to you. What is your favorite comedy or parody song of all time?
That's a hard one because I barely hear any parody songs. I barely hear
It's a
them.
good question.
Of course, it's a good one. The only one that I can think of is that parody song from 50 Shades of Grey, but that one's in Spanish. That's the only one that I can think of right now. Like, I barely hear parody songs. Maybe like the La La Land
What
song?
about just a comedy song? Just like a song that's funny.
Oh, give me an idea because for me to remember is.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure other people have brought up Flight of the Conchords already.
I've never seen that.
As comedy music. But they're pretty funny. Although I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the local to me comedy folk band, the Lancashire Hot Pots, who riff on all things in and around Lancashire, and it's very funny. I can't say I have. I think my favourite song actually would be "I Fear IKEA," in which they just sing for 3 minutes about how they get stressed out by IKEA.
I fucking hate IKEA. I hate it.
And it's really funny. So go.
I need to hear it.
Go and YouTube "I Fear IKEA" to know what I'm talking about because it is genius.
I don't think I've ever heard Raul use the F word, and it's my new favorite thing now.
Really?
Really? I've heard it about 14 times in the last hour.
We just see each other right now at the
That's true.
street.
Yeah, it's just got
How much longer are you in town?
2 weeks today. I fly out.
Well, you have plenty of time to come to Texas.
I mean, it's
I know.
true.
I promised him I would stop guilt tripping him, but here I go again.
No one wants to get rid of me,
No.
which you probably don't.
Is Morgan talking about how he doesn't want to come to Texas?
What?
No. All right. So, question number 2.
I can send him to a Greyhound right now because I'm not gonna pay him a plane. Maybe a Greyhound.
I think it would take him like a week to get here on Greyhound. I don't know if it's very.
And they stop in every single fucking town.
Again and again. There you go.
He's feisty tonight. What was question number 2?
Question number 2 is, what is the best comedy series on television?
Go on, Raul.
Well, I know your answer.
My
I'm gonna-
answer's obvious.
If
What is
you're gonna
always
see
my-
Sunny in Philadelphia,
There you go. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. What a big surprise coming from me.
and you know my answer also is Friends of How I Met Your Mother. If I put on an episode of those shows, it will always make me laugh.
There you go.
That's it.
And
We're taking too long with other people.
and also the first 3 seasons of Family Guy.
Early.
I think you guys might be the last callers.
No,
No,
we
because
still-
Jonathan Peck is still here. Yeah, but you're pretty close, so you can take your time. There's 2 of you guys, and Raul is a producer.
Yes.
So
I'm okay.
We're just eating carrots.
Is this like a, was it Rocha that was like eating the cereal on Fan Friction? Are you doing like a power move?
Yes, but I'm not flipping you off.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, Kimber is a witness. Rocco started it. I didn't.
It's true. We all saw it.
I always have your back in that particular debate and most others. So
Well,
he was attacking my friend. I did not
Tom, at the rivalry between me and Juan Rocha.
thing is, right? He actually believes there's a solid rivalry between.
There is. I saw it with my own eyes.
It's very clear from actually being able to watch them together on 2 different occasions now. Roker takes it completely as a joke, yet Raul still absolutely hates him.
You think it's a joke?
I think Roker takes it as a joke.
You can have mutual respect and be friends with somebody in real life and have them be your rival professionally, though. Like, Brian is my rival on Fan Friction, but that doesn't mean I don't love the dude, you know?
It's not even like that. It's just unnecessary hate.
I'm going to repeat a line that Rocco said at Collider.
Okay.
Because I want the Latinos to be better. So he wants
You
me
did
to
say
be better
that.
than him. So technically, that's not a joke. That's a rivalry line.
I'm only thinking of like Vince Vaughn and Anchorman, Will Ferrell, when he's like climbing out of the bear pen. He's like, I don't like you, but God damn it, I respect you.
Oh my God, no.
Mancy.
Yeah, technically, I respect
He
him.
respects Roker. so-
You saw that in the mountain thing. You wanted me to interrupt him and his girlfriend with Mrs. Maltin.
I don't know if it was his girlfriend.
Of course, it was his girlfriend. I've seen her like 10 times.
It might have been his sister.
I haven't seen Facebook official yet, so
Like, Roca, talking about rivalry, like, he even on Twitter, we even fight on Twitter. Like, so many fights. If he's playing a joke, he will already have followed me.
The man likes arguing.
Yeah. We even did like a small down also.
We did. Roker was testing Raul on trivia because he wanted Raul to be better.
Nice.
oh, there's another rivalry: Eric Ostermacher and Tom Zambino.
Oh. All right. So getting back to the questions.
Question 3 is what movie that isn't a comedy made you laugh the most?
It's not a comedy?
Not a comedy, but
They're
it's
happening.
That's a good one.
Hot dogs. They got a cool shape.
The Happening is one of the best comedies of all time. The Room also. I have said to Morgan many times, because it's a beer, to watch The Room. He doesn't want to see it. Like, he has me to see it with, and he doesn't want to see it. Tommy was just gonna be on this weekend.
I know
showing
that.
it to the public.
You keep bringing it up. Would you two
Can't
please?
push Morgan. He wants what he wants.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
couple,
just to-
it's amazing.
Gravity Falls.
You didn't
A
have
lot
to
of
push me.
movies.
You didn't push me though, did you? Because I actually like it.
Well, that's true. But how do you know you're not gonna like The Room if you still haven't
Because
seen
it's
it?
a load of absolute shit.
Okay, so I want everybody to move to Austin, but I secretly want Morgan to move in with Raul and just film this because it's
Yes.
amazing.
We're technically an odd couple. Like, this would be the
We
reboot that CBS wanted for ratings.
The
This
odd
is-
shaped couple.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I
good.
wish
On
Janine was there. Are you guys hanging out with Janine more before you go?
she's now left.
No.
I don't really know.
Yeah, we
She
don't know.
may return.
She may.
May.
Should. Unless she wants to come to Austin instead. I'm totally down for that.
Which, you know, is another perfectly valid. You're probably sick of us by now.
I don't think so.
So,
Sweetest.
Well, I get to see Janine every single month. So.
well, she's probably sick of me by
now.
So what was your answer for that one, Morgan?
Oh, for the comedy one that makes me laugh that isn't a comedy. It's a hard. That's hard. I'm trying to think. Top of my head. Oh, non. I mean, do you know what actually weirdly does make me laugh is the Clockwork Orange.
What the fuck?
I was
because
the same earlier, but I was like, I don't want people to think like I'm a psychopath. So
So
I'm not
Morgan's
gonna
a
say that.
psychopath.
Well, it's giving an example. Scream makes me laugh out loud because it's a meta comedy.
Yeah, Scream's got comedy in it though. Clockwork Orange hasn't really got any comedy in it.
Well,
but it's
that's
got a-
true.
it's got a
Clockwork
lot-
Orange doesn't have any comedy in
No.
it.
It's got a lot of sort of dryness in it, and the language is kind of amusing to me, and just the sort of weird, I don't know, the way Alex just seems to completely hate all of the other druids, but like never directly. So, like, especially obviously the famous scene, slow-mo walking next to the river,
Mm-hmm.
and Beethoven's knife is just going and just whacks him with the cane and kicks him. That's kind of funny to me, even though it's supposed to obviously be quite sort of, oh god, this is violent.
So fun facts about A Clockwork Orange. The made up language in that book and movie is called Nadsat. And I don't know how it is in the UK version of the book, but in the American version of the book, there is a dictionary in the back of the book that explains some of the words and phrases to you so you can understand what's going on.
That's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know. I don't own the book. I'll have to find someone who does own the UK
Of course, Nolan
version
has
of
it.
it, but no one probably won't have it. He doesn't
No,
like
it's not young adult. It's not YA, so he probably doesn't have it.
Oh, that's true.
or a children's book for 3-year-olds.
It's right in between Twilight and
No, it is not.
and Coraline.
But yeah, interesting choice. Well, Jonathan Peck had to leave for the night, so you guys can feel free to.
It's your show
Yeah,
now.
it's your show now. But we do have one more question for you guys before we maybe just ask you guys a couple questions about your trip and stuff.
Yeah.
What was the last one? Oh, what comedian do you think is the most brilliant? Like, who's the
Whoa.
most standout, brilliant, intelligent, amazing comedian of all time?
Doesn't have to be stand up. It could be a comedic writer.
See, my mind immediately does go to stand up.
Yeah, mine did too.
It's because I like stand-up, but I prefer a lot of the comedic actors. Like, my favorite of all time is between Steve Martin and Jim Carrey. I fucking love those two. I cannot decide between those two. Like, Steve Martin, I even bring up that one of my favorite comedies of his is Bringing Down the House.
Yeah.
And you said, that looks absolutely
Well, it
terrible.
does- I said the word dreadful, actually.
Let me Bringing Down the House you're talking about? Okay, pause.
Here we go.
Thank you, Timber. Thank you.
Wait. Steve Martin is a genius. He's also an amazing banjo player, and he played the banjo with Kermit the Frog, so that makes you the coolest guy in the world. And Bringing Down the House is hilarious. My mother loves that fucking movie. Like, she will talk to you all day about it, and that movie made me want a French bulldog so bad.
Yes.
I love that movie, and it is funny. And I'm sorry, Morgan, I gotta side with Raul.
I think the dad from American Pie is funnier than Steve Martin in that movie. But like the jerk and like him as the dentist.
I even like the Out of Towners, and I also like the original Out of Towners with Jack Lemmon. But I like his version of the Out of Towners also with Goldie Hawn, and I love the Fall of the Bride Part 1 and 2, like the one that just said that you're the lonely guy. There's so many Steve Martin comedies that I love. Even Roseanne. I like Roseanne a lot also.
He has the best cameo in the Muppet movie as the waiter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair point. Yeah, I mean, like I said, mine goes to stand-up. You might be assuming I'm going to choose a British stand-up, but I did, if I'm not mistaken, hear Richard Pryor's name come up before. And I think Richard Pryor is the most genius comedian I've ever had the pleasure of watching a taped live show of.
Can you do me a favor and talk louder, Morgan? You're a little lower than
Your mic just cut.
His Britishness.
I'm sorry. I'm quiet. I'm sorry.
That's why he usually has the microphone right in his face.
I have been dealing with his super low voice.
I feel bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Did you hear any of what I said?
Raoul
You were
snores
talking,
louder than you talk.
You were talking about Richard Pryor.
I was talking about Richard Pryor. Just because I think he's the, like you might have expected me to say a British comedian, a British stand-up comedian. And I mean, yeah, there's a few sort of really good sort of big name legendary ones. But the first time I watched was Richard Pryor. I think it was Richard Pryor on the Sunset Strip. It was the first live show that I watched. And I was just in fits and stitches all night. So I've never seen a stand-up comedian who can make me laugh as much as Richard Pryor, and who I feel like often deals with really serious things in just a really interesting, really clever, smart way that only the best comedians can pull off.
Do you want to know who I think the best comedian of our time is, and they're not even trying to be a comedian?
You?
Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. Carl Pilkington is the one who looks like my dad.
Oh my gosh, please show Raoul like an idiot abroad. He'll enjoy it. He's so great, Raoul. You'll love it. It's so funny. Morgan has summoned over Mavis with his beautiful voice.
So some names that I didn't hear tonight, that because we could only pick so many. But Mitch Hedberg, John Maloney.
I like John Maloney.
I also
Candace was going to talk about him, I believe, Maloney.
For me, talking about Latinos, Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy. I really like all of his stand-ups.
I've actually heard of him, so
he's really good.
That must mean
Bill Hader is hilarious as well. I wanted to shout his name out. And that Barry show that he's doing is amazing. I don't know if you've watched Barry on HBO, Morgan, but I feel like you'd like it a lot.
And Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon as well, yeah.
Also, we just saw on the Call Brother, Dave Chappelle. I have seen a lot of his stand-up.
That's a fair shout. That's a great shout. Dave Chappelle as well.
Dave Chappelle, unfortunately, goes into the category of comedians who have said some stuff that I don't appreciate about like the transgender community and stuff. But unfortunately, some of my favorite comedians have fallen victim to saying terrible things that I find unforgivable. Ricky Gervais, unfortunately, has said some things that I didn't appreciate. And I really always I enjoyed him as a comedian, too. But it's really hard for me to get past stuff like that.
He's also like somebody you connect to as being an atheist and stuff.
Like he was really important to me, but I'm wounded by some of the stuff he said. Other names that I'd like to shout out that are really hilarious comedians. I love Eddie Izzard as well. Amy Poehler and Tina Fey.
George Lopez 5 years ago. Well, he's not funny anymore, but he was funny 5 years ago.
That's funny right there.
I know George Lopez is. I had to think a minute.
Who's that? Who was that lesbian comedian that we were watching her special and she was fucking...
Oh, the one that she goes on Conan with the short hair?
Yes.
I don't know, but short hair does not...
Tignatario? I think it's Tignatario something?
Tignataro? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she's very funny. She was cracking us up. But just like a lot, I like Kyle Kinane as well. A lot of the comedy that's going on right now is really funny.
Yeah, like even me and my sister were talking. He's a Mexican guy. He only does in Spanish, but he just come from a whole world tour. He even went to Russia and China, and he sold out. His name is Franco Escamilla, and he's gonna come to LA in October. And she was like, I really want to go. And that comedian started in our town in Mexico, in Monterrey.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a local that started in bars like 4 years ago, and now he's selling out in a lot of big. I think he went to the Madison Square Garden. I don't remember.
I mean, since we're talking about comedy, we were able to go visit a comedy club on Lavaca Lane or Lavaca Boulevard here in Austin called the Fallout Theater. If anyone's ever in Austin, 7 days a week comedy.
We had a lot of fun at that. They were pulling people out of the audience and talking to them.
Yeah.
We both went up individually. The hard thing with that was that the first thing they said is you can't talk about your job. And unfortunately, like 90% of the stuff that is funny that happens in my life is related to my bizarre job. So I was like, well, I'm fucked. But it was really interesting. And I think that everybody should go out and support local stand-up comedians because it's a really hard gig. And if you don't support places like that, they go out of business. And who knows, you might be seeing the next great stand-up for $5 or whatever before they hit it big. And some of these guys are like, not all local stand-up comedians are funny. Again, it's really hard, and some people are funny conversationally but just not in that setting. But we enjoyed it a lot,
and we happened to have like, because there's 4 comedians there and all of them are funny. Like you were telling me, because I hadn't been to a comedy club before that, and you're saying like some comedy clubs are very hit or miss, but that was a great night.
Yeah, that was fun.
Nice.
Cool. Also, just talking about something random outside of comedy, because we didn't have the chance 2 weeks ago because Morgan just arrived and I just arrived from Comic-Con. Can we please talk about Glass?
The trailer?
Yes. I don't know, you guys already watch it?
I'm excited. Kimber doesn't like this. I mean,
he doesn't care. Kimber does not care at all.
Kimber, you're breaking my heart.
Here's the thing. It unfortunately was the whole connection thing was spoiled for me before I got to see Split. So if I had been watching Split and the Unbreakable music had kicked in, because it like half happened because I half forgot, but like the music kicks in and then you see Bruce Willis and I was like, whoa! But it was kind of ruined. So I don't know. I really like that it's framed in a hospital ward, a psychiatric hospital ward. I like that, you know there's going to be a villain team up. It looks cool. I don't know what the twist's going to be, but
it does look cool. I think Raul's far more excited than I am for it, but it does admit it.
I'm so super fucking excited. I was crying at the panel when seeing it in the trailer.
Extra.
Because that's my Infinity War. That's how much I love Split and Unbreakable.
I definitely like Unbreakable more than Split. Split kind of lost me halfway through, and it did some unnecessary things with the protagonist. But
and my is backwards because I like Unbreakable a lot, but the thing for me, Unbreakable is very slow pace, and Split goes a little more faster.
Okay, my one thing was Split. If they never showed him crawling on the walls and stuff, and if it was just like implied and like that one scene when the lights are going,
yeah,
that was really intense. But like, I didn't need to see him. You know what I mean? I would have been more like the Jaws theory. You know what I mean? Like it would have been more like scary to not see his like kind of broke. Like that looked so hokey. I don't know. It pulled me out.
That's fair.
Yeah, and even like 2 years ago when I got out from Split, like I already have my theory of what's gonna happen in Glass, and when I saw the trailer, I was like, maybe my pitch is technically like a flashback, because my theory is that they're gonna the movie's gonna start all of them in the asylum, and then we're gonna see Sarah Paulson interviewing every single one, and we're gonna see the battle and everything that happened. They went to a battle in Philadelphia. Maybe a lot of people die and everything. It's gonna be a flashback.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I think that they're gonna do that to save money because there's a low budget movie, Glass.
I was also thinking that there's going to be a lot of flashbacks, but because the movie's Glass, I was thinking we're going to learn a lot more about Samuel L. Jackson's character through therapy. I think it's a really clever way to do flashbacks and not just, you know what I mean, like have him telling the story of his second comic where he got the idea to do, you know what I mean? Like I want to see him as a kid reading comics.
And of course, I have some worries. One of my worries is that James McAvoy is going to overshadow Samuel L. Jackson. And Samuel L. Jackson has waited 20 years to reprise that role. That's one of my worries. And one of my worries is, what if I get disappointed? Because I have been waiting a long time for this. And Kimber, it's okay. You're not high for it. You can come back.
He's not even here. She's outside.
Okay. Yeah, and so I'm super hyped. I hope I don't get disappointed like when I saw Batman vs Superman and I made that whole line for the panel and everything.
Nothing wrong with that movie.
But talking also about Comic-Con, like I'm gonna break a lot of hearts. I haven't had the chance to see the last Subshade panel, but I didn't like that Aquaman trailer.
You didn't like the what trailer?
No.
Which one?
The Aquaman trailer.
Oh no, I wasn't a huge fan either.
Oh well, I'll just leave then.
I mean,
Fine.
that Shazam trailer though.
Yes, Shazam. I'm totally on board on that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in Aquaman, it looks like the Avatar prequel to Avatar 2.
I was getting Avatar vibes too. That's interesting. Like I know they're still like polishing their special effects and stuff, so you have to give them that. My only worry is like if they don't make Black Manta an interesting character, he's just gonna suffer the same thing as Doomsday and Zod with he's just an eye beam shooting dude. Like
no, one of my worries, because I was watching a lot of comments, I was like, oh my god, Black Manta is so comic book accurate. I liked all of this stuff and it's very comic book. I was like, I think that Nolan said it, and a lot of people, even William Viviani said on his podcast, you shouldn't be so accurate. Do your own version of how you represent that story.
Well, I mean, it's definitely not straight out of the comic book. It's its own interpretation, but I like that, you know, there's a whole reason he's called the Manta. It's because he looks like a manta. So you kind of have to. But I'm really excited for Godzilla. See,
and you know that I hated that first Godzilla movie. Like I in hell with next to Ghostbusters. That's how much I hate that movie. But this one is because it's directed by Michael Dougherty from Krampus. So that's why I'm so hyped. I want to say something. You didn't like it, right?
I don't care enough, really.
Morgan doesn't care about movies. I have to drag him to the movie theater.
He likes old movies.
That's going to be Morgan as the officiant at our wedding. If anybody has anything to say, you know what? Actually, no, I don't care enough, really.
Yes, me and Brandon and Jenny were joking when Morgan went to the bathroom. I was like,
oh, that's nice. You told.
When we're imagining Morgan working in the Harry Potter world, oh, just please decide.
I am deeply offended.
All right. Well, thank you both for calling in. I know you guys are in vacation mode, so I like that you took out the time to check in on us. Do you guys want to plug your individual content, and then we'll wrap this up?
Go listen to it. It's a wonderful podcast. We're on a break for August, but we're back in September. Yeah, there's 21 episodes you can listen to. So YouTube, Apple Podcasts, podcast.com. So just search It's a Wonderful Podcast. You'll find it. They're fun.
Yeah, I want to know about that Raoul that you talk about a lot.
Well, if you notice, never am the one who brings you up in some sort of evil joke. So
I know that's Nolan.
Blame the co-host for that one.
And also, You can find my podcast, The Guest Spotlight with Troy Luxon, on the Rington Entertainment channel. We're also in a little bit of hiatus because Troy is working a lot, and also I was working and helping my sister to move out here, and then Comic-Con, and then Morgan. So hopefully maybe we're gonna record an episode during the week.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Well,
So,
that's it for us here on the Odd Shape channel.
if you guys are free after this, Ashley and Joe are going to be streaming Chasm on Geek to My Nerd. So if you're looking for more content, you can follow them over there and check that out.
Wednesday, I'll have our first episode of Movies with Super Friends, hosted by Billy Pollahan, where he looks into past DC movies. Since some people have been hating on the newer ones, he wants to go and examine the older ones and see if they're any better.
And you can find us here again in 2 weeks, where we'll be doing an OSP and chill, talking about current pop culture events.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be some cool stuff going on, and we'll see you all then. Check us out at oddshapechannel.com. Support us at patreon.com/oddshapechannel. Get your free audiobook by signing up for a trial at audibletrials.com/oddshapechannel. And tweet at us at oddshapechannel, and
at Kimberbatch_OSP.
That's it for us. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.